Hello and welcome virtually at least to the Courtauld. I'm delighted to be speaking to you this afternoon and introducing you to who we are, what we do, what our focus is as an institution, and the various reasons why and the ways in which you might consider joining us as a community. My name is Dr. Caroline Levitt and I lecture here in late 19th and early 20th century art, mostly French, but I'm also the head of the History of Art department at the moment. So as I say, a great pleasure to be welcoming you, and I hope that you will find this to be a useful and interesting overview of the Courtauld. Let me tell you a little bit about who we are, how we were founded, where we began. So we're an independent college of the University of London. We were founded in 1932 as the UK's first university department to be devoted to the study of art. And the Courtauld was founded by Samuel Courtauld, whose art collection forms the hub really of our gallery collections. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the gallery later. Viscount Lee of Fareham and Sir Robert Witt were alongside Samuel Courtauld in founding the Institute, and between them they believed very much in the importance of art, the power it has in societies across the world, and in the need to study and understand the ways in which it works. So this wasn't just looking at pictures, it was something which was supposed to have a big impact on society, and that's something that we still believe in very much. We currently have almost 600 students on our books, from the BA History of Art right through our graduate diploma, our MA in curating, our conservation programs, and also our PhD program. And since January 2019, our teaching and learning, including our faculty staff and our book library, have been housed in the spacious building that you can see on the screen at the moment. It's a purpose-built educational facility at Vernon Square. It's located in King's Cross in London, and it's a temporary home for us really, whilst our permanent home at Somerset House is being transformed. But it's a very good home. It works very well for teaching and learning, and things are functioning very nicely there. Somerset House is being transformed, as I say, as part of a major project to open up the gallery and the teaching facilities to even more people and make them more accessible, and to create new and exciting study facilities. But in the meantime, we found a great home here at Vernon Square. We're about to be slightly split site, as you may realise, when our gallery reopens. And I keep alluding to the gallery. I'll tell you a bit more about it in a moment, but the gallery is due to open very shortly now, in the middle of November, the 19th of November. The gallery reopens to the public, which is very exciting. If you would like to come and see our campus at Vernon Square, you can now book a term time small group tour via our website, and that would be led by a current student. So do come up and have a look at the building and the facilities that we have here, and see what it's like to be at the Courtauld in our teaching and learning space. Our size means that we have expertise across all periods, from the late antique world to the contemporary, but we're still small enough that we can all come together as a community. We study and we research and we teach about art in all its forms and all media, from the smallest, most personal painting or object to the design and evolution of whole cities, urban networks, and on an increasingly global scale. And I think globalization and thinking more broadly geographically is something that is particularly on our agenda at the moment. The gallery, as I say, is reopening very shortly, which is a very exciting thing for us at the moment. And its collection stretches from the early Renaissance right through to the 20th century and beyond. It contains an unrivaled Impressionist and post-Impressionist collection, including masterpieces by Manet and Van Gogh and Cézanne and Gauguin, which is very exciting. But when it reopens in November, it will also house a fantastic contemporary commission by Cecily Brown. It's been recently transformed, and you can see a photo of it there in its sort of new glory. That's before the paintings were hung on the walls. I've seen it. There are paintings going up on the walls, nearly there as I speak. And so that is a room that looks completely unpopulated at the moment, but will soon be repopulated with our collections and with visitors. The Great Room is being opened up in particular, and that will make for a spectacular space, a really large space at the top of the gallery wing of Somerset House. So I hope that you would all come and see the gallery when it has reopened. 19th of November, you can come and see it, or as soon as you can get tickets thereafter. We'll have new transformed galleries that will be devoted to medieval and early Renaissance collections. We've got a lovely space devoted to the Bloomsbury Group in particular, part of our 20th century collections, and a new exhibition space will extend the Courtauld's celebrated programmes of international loan exhibitions alongside smaller temporary exhibitions. Overall, the collection will be completely redisplayed and reinterpreted. And it's been a really exciting opportunity for rethinking how we hang things and how we interpret and understand them. While the gallery's been closed, the collection hasn't just been sitting there with no one to look at it. We've undertaken national and international partnerships to allow more audiences to engage with it, which has been really successful. We've had paintings on display at the National Gallery. They've been on tour in Japan. There's been an Islamic metalwork tour. There's been an exhibition down at Royal Holloway and in regional museums around the UK. And as a student, we hope that you will very much think of the gallery as part of your teaching space. I often teach in the gallery. I often take my MA students there, or at least I have done in the past, and we're very much looking forward to that again at the end of November. There's nothing like standing in front of paintings and talking through them and looking at them closely, observing them together as a group. And as a student, you have free access to the Courtauld Gallery, so you can pop in whenever you want to and look at something for as short or a longer time as you wish. There are also opportunities to volunteer in the gallery. For example, delivering talks to the public. I think the very first time that I spoke about an artwork in the Courtauld Gallery, it was as an MA student, speaking to a small group of the public who had come to listen to me speak about something or other. I can't think which painting it was now, but I've done many gallery talks in there since. And it's a very rewarding experience. So when our talks programme starts up again, as the gallery reopens, you may have opportunities like that as a student, which is very, very rewarding, I think. We also have a fantastic book library. We have a significant collection of around 200,000 books. One of my favourite facts actually when we moved up to Vernon Square was that if you laid all of our books out, we had to measure the shelves to make sure we got the right number in the new library. If you laid all of our books out, they would have formed a route all the way up between Somerset House and King's Cross. We didn't do that. It would have caused some conservation problems, I think, especially if the pavements had been wet. But I thought that was a really fun fact, actually. Our books cover the length between Vernon Square and Somerset House, which is quite a long way for books to cover. We have books, exhibition catalogues, journals focused on art history, but also on related subjects. And it's a collection which is ever growing. We're constantly purchasing new things to fit with the new things that we're teaching and researching. Courtauld students also have access to the printed collections and electronic resources of Senate House Library, the Library of the University of London, as well as other specialist libraries, including the Warburg, the Institute of Historical Studies, and of course the British Library, which is only 10 minutes away from our Vernon Square campus. The library is more than just books, although it is books and we encourage you to look at them. But the activities of the library include film showings, displays, exhibitions. There's a book display for Black History Month at the moment, for example, displays for things like International Women's Day. And the book library also invests in a huge number of digital resources, which have been incredibly important to our teaching and learning over the last year in particular, but which remain for us as a fantastic opportunity. You can access most of the required readings for all of your courses online. If we don't have them in existing digital formats, then we have them scanned from books, for example, as PDF documents onto our virtual learning environment. That all comes out of our library collections. You'll find that there are links to ebooks, articles from digital magazines, scans of key chapters, which will help you to prepare for each lecture and seminar. And we have a range of electronic resources on the history of art and architecture so that you can access them whenever and wherever you are choosing to undertake independent study. Those include image and video databases, as well as more traditional academic resources. I don't want to suggest that you could undertake your studies entirely remotely, however, and I hope that you will see 200,000 books as an exciting physical material opportunity and not shy away from coming and browsing those shelves. So much happens when we browse bookshelves. You can sign into the digital content that we do have, though, from the library's web pages using the account that we'll set up for you when you arrive as a student. And you also have access to the Senate House Library digital resources through that too. Once you've registered with Senate House Library, you can use any of its extensive online resources on a wide range of subjects through its website. So they have a much broader collection in terms of subject matter. We have a specialist art history library with some things in other areas that Senate House will fill in the gaps for you in areas like literature, anthropology, history, all sorts of other interconnected subjects. We don't just have a book library, we also have image libraries. The Witt Library, for example, is a collection of over 2 million photographs and reproductions of Western paintings and drawings and engravings from around 1200 to the present day. The Conway Library is a collection of photographs of world architecture, of architectural drawings, sculpture, manuscripts. And there's currently a project in place to digitise the images, which amount to about 3.3 million in their entirety. So we're getting there. The e-museum is what used to be our slide library, effectively. The days when you would take an actual slide and put it into a carousel have really come to an end now, but we are digitising our slide collection. And that contains more than 130,000 images covering painting, sculpture, architecture, illuminated manuscripts, prints, decorative arts, everything you could think of, really. And the Courtauld Art and Architecture website also has the complete collections of the Courtauld Gallery as online images. So you're well supplied in terms of digital image libraries and resources, and also physical images. Whilst the Witt and the Conway collections are being digitised, they also exist as physical photographs, which is very exciting. Our prints and drawings room is a very exciting resource. We have a very significant collection of works on paper, one of the most significant collections really in Britain, with approximately 7,000 drawings and watercolours and 26,000 prints, which range right through from the Middle Ages to the 20th century avant-garde. I was in the prints and drawings study room up at Vernon Square, shortly moving back down to Somerset House, but I was in there this last week with my MA students, actually looking at some prints by Gergon, which was a very rewarding experience. I think prints and drawings are very surprising when you see them up close, and they really reward close looking. So it's a fantastic resource. We've got masterpieces by artists like Dürer, Da Vinci, Michelangelo, Rembrandt, Turner, and we've also got coverage of major national schools and periods through that. So our students, as I say, continue to have access to that collection currently at Vernon Square, but will do once the gallery reopens. The prints and drawings room will move down to Somerset House alongside it. The research forum is another key resource, particularly for our postgraduate community, but also our undergraduate community. Everybody is very welcome at events run by the research forum. It holds around 150 events per year, from research group seminars to activities involving visiting scholars from around the world. We also have a programme called Open Courtauld, which embraces a wide and diverse audience. It's something that we started during lockdown, where people could come and engage with art historical events and talks from their own living rooms, but it's proven very popular, and we will continue to hold those. This term, the Research Forum have released a mix of online and in-person events, a huge programme of activity. And that will continue, as I say, to include the Open Courtauld Hour, which is a sort of mini-series, I suppose, really, of concise 1-hour packages of pop-up talks and performances and in-detail object study sessions, exploring our collection, research in art history, curation and conservation. But we also have many scholars visiting from other universities to build a research community where we can discuss ideas and themes that are really pertinent to our art historical research at the moment. We also recently launched a decolonisation reading group scheme. All staff and students are encouraged to take part in that, and it's intended to enable us to learn and to debate and to reflect as a community on how the subject of art history can be broadened and better understood as globally as possible. The Research Forum facilitates a number of cross-sectional research clusters as well, which cut across periods, perhaps organised by theme, and they include groups like documenting fashion, Courtauld Asia, gender and sexuality, or one that I run on word and image. Exciting opportunities for us to get together as a research community and also to engage with speakers and events outside our walls. From research, which perhaps might seem like the exciting pinnacle of what we do, right down to support on a very logistical and practical level. We have a very strong wellbeing team, which has recently grown, including counsellors, but also including a wellbeing manager and specialist study skills tutors. We provide student advice and services. And there's a support desk, a student advice desk, which is open regularly during term time, where you can go to ask any questions that you might have. We have, as I say, study skills tutors who focus partly on the skills that we all need, but also partly on disability support, particular learning needs that people might have. We have a senior tutor who oversees a system of personal tutors, tutors who are academics, members of the faculty, who will engage with you and help you as you come to university and become part of our community. People who will want to understand you as a whole person, as opposed to just a student in a class, and who are willing to help you with decision making, for example, about what courses you might take, with any problems that you might encounter. We also have a fantastic resource in a couple of Royal Literary Fund Fellows who are professional writers, but who also work with us to assist students and staff actually in developing writing. They'll work with you one-to-one. They'll look at your current writing and they'll help you to understand ways in which you might improve or develop your skills in writing. We have a careers service who engage very heavily with our alumni network. So as soon as you join the Courtauld, really you're networked into a huge group of people who have studied before you and gone off often into the art world to do exciting things. I think I can tell you about some specific alumni in a moment. And of course, we have a students' union, which runs a wide range of events across the year and is there to represent the students' views in many ways as well. We have a staff student liaison forum where we listen to each other and make sure that we can be making your student experience as good as it can possibly be. So there are various ways in which you have a voice and in which we want to hear it. There's a strong network of student-led activity and support, and those stretch from before your enrolment right through the Student Union-enabled peer-to-peer programme to the years after you graduate through, as I say, our thriving alumni network. I think the small size of the Courtauld is one of the things that makes our community so unique. And it's that which allows for you to be both yourselves and to stand out whilst fostering a familial atmosphere that really bridges between year groups. It's a community in which all the BA students know each other. Most of the MA students know each other. There are moments where you're being lectured as a whole cohort. And that's a really exciting moment to get to know people outside of your individual special options and across the Courtauld community. So whether running a society or curating a student-led exhibition or representing us on University Challenge, the Students' Union ensures that there are avenues in which you can make your voice heard and your presence felt. Aside from social life and academic life, The SU has a really big role in considering and catering to the welfare of students, and that's probably its most important role and priority, I suppose. We understand firsthand, that moving to university in London can be daunting, and so the Students' Union works closely with the wellbeing team to put together a comprehensive programme of events that will complement your studies. We provide career support. There are details there on that slide of the various things that our careers department will offer. One-to-one appointments about careers, practice interviews, a whole range of online resources, as well as help sheets and magazines. There's a careers programme, and if you attend those events, then there's a fantastic networking event at the end of that. We also hold employer and industry events. Graduate careers might include things like curating, or being a conservator, or an art dealer, or an auction house expert. People go into other things that don't seem directly related to art history, but that use transferable skills. Things like being a lawyer, or an entrepreneur, or a publisher, media professionals, teachers, banking, finance, journalists, the list goes on, really, all the different things that you can do with a degree in the history of art. And that really goes to demonstrate the range of transferable skills that students at the Courtauld gain, as well as art historical specific skills. Students who've studied at the Courtauld graduates are very employable. They're very attractive to employers. Our alumni community is vast, and once you graduate from the Courtauld, you become part of a community of over 8,000 alumni. Let me give you a few names. Our alumni include Nicholas Cullinan, Director of the National Portrait Gallery in London, Naomi Beckwith, who is Deputy Director and Chief Curator at the Guggenheim Museum, Daniel McLean, an international art and cultural property lawyer, Valeria Bembry, who is a counter-trafficking specialist. So people doing all sorts of interesting things having studied at the Courtauld. There's a vibrant calendar of alumni events, both in London and across the UK and even internationally, which you will be invited to. There are professional networking opportunities built into our alumni programme. You're offered careers support for up to 2 years after you graduate from us. And you have access to our exclusive online jobs board, which is a monthly e-newsletter where jobs will be posted only to the Courtauld Alumni Network. We have an alumni publication, the Courtauld News, which is published annually, and you have lifetime access to our library facilities, which, as I've already said, are incredibly significant. So there are many reasons, I think, why you may want to study at the Courtauld. I first came here as an MA student and carried on and did a PhD here. I've since taught in other places as well, but it's a real pleasure to be back teaching here and to be part of the community from the other side. You find lifelong friends at the Courtauld and potentially lifelong colleagues as well. I hope that gives you a little bit of a taste of what you can expect from us as an institute. Breadth of teaching, support, exciting high-level research, but also a place within a community of people who are in some ways like-minded and in other ways absolutely individuals. I hope that you will stay in touch with us. I hope that having heard this presentation, you may have had many questions answered, but that your interest will have been sparked, and you may even have found further questions that you would like to ask. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can also contact us at PG Admissions, Postgraduate Admissions at courtauld.ac.uk. And you can receive an answer to any questions that you have through that email address. Do also look at our website, which is continually being updated. You'll find sections on there with frequently asked questions, all sorts of information about our courses. We're launching our MA special options at the moment, and you'll find information about the gallery as that reopens as well. So it's a pleasure to have spoken with you today, and I hope to see you at some point in the future. Many thanks for listening.